welcome Elizabeth Dietzman from Gov2Com. I wanted to turn around to see if I needed to pull up your slideshow.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
No.
Okay, so I actually want to make a few introductions. There are so many people who came today and I'm leaving at 9:30. I want to introduce Karen Miller. Karen is the #2 person working on Gov2Com. She actually is the one who really knows everything about how the program is being set up and how it's working. I'm incredibly lucky to have her. We have some other people here who are peripherally involved with Gov2Com, and I want you all to kind of know who they are. Scott Philpott, you'll hear me talking about. He's with the CPRCV, so Cyber Protection Resources, Coastal Virginia. That's a mouthful. It's a new startup, and it's a nonprofit working on cyber issues, helping commercial and government, federal cyber groups come together. Scott is going to be an integral part of the Gov2Com competition that you'll hear about. Dave Kern may be one of our first companies participating in the program. Steve Bain has been doing this for years and knows so much more about this whole community. I'm definitely relying on Steve heavily. Wayne Howard and Monique McWhite. Monique is the director of HPAC, the Hampton Roads Procurement Assistance Center at the ODU, newly renamed Center for Enterprise Innovation. Yes, we're rebranding. And Wayne Howard is, I don't know, you're everywhere. He worked with OEA, which is where a lot of this funding came from, so I have been picking his brain frantically. So these people who are here, who are already very kind of interested and invested in this process, and when I leave at 9:30 to go to another meeting, feel free to talk amongst yourselves. I just wanted you to know that they're all here in the room. My name is Elizabeth Dietzman. I'm the 3-week-old director of this program, Gov2Com, Government to Commercial. We are basically, I don't even look at my PowerPoint, so this is one of the many reasons Karen's helping me. If you are a government contractor, you need to know about this program. We all know, or most of us know, Virginia is the #1 recipient of defense spending in the U.S. And notwithstanding the news in today's paper about a possible budget resolution, this is not going to change anytime soon unless we help our defense contractors develop commercial opportunities. And that is going to help diversify our regional economy. The Office of Economic Adjustment has earmarked funds. Those funds were given to Virginia, and Admiral Harvey, now Secretary of Veterans Liaison, I don't know, the name's changed. What's it called?
Veterans Affairs.
Veterans Affairs. The Veterans Affairs is administering this as a 2-year grant, and this is Admiral Harvey's baby. He is highly interested in this program being developed, figuring out some really concrete ways to make this happen. So we are pushing that. We think we're looking at roughly 6 steps. We are developing a community of practice. The community of practice is going to be supported by the concursive platform that Dave Richards has developed that's been used by a number of other groups. We are going to have at gov2com.org, as soon as it gets stood up, which is hopefully very, very shortly, an amazingly robust web platform that allows people to come together and collaborate. So collaborate and diversify are kind of the 2 buzzwords for me. We have to bring commercial and defense contractors together to collaborate. So many defense contractors, I would say most defense contractors, really don't know how to function in the commercial world. They don't have to. So in order to help them figure out how to do that, we have to get them in touch with a really diverse community of people from all walks. And that's going to be the gov2com.org platform. It lets people develop an online community of practice. It lets people collaborate in virtual meeting rooms, share things via a cloud-based system, I think, right? Yeah, I can spell concursive, and that's about as much as I know. I've met with the guys at Concursive, and they start talking IT, and it sounds amazing, but I don't really know how the back stuff works. At any rate, this is going to allow us to create this community of practice. We're going to have collaboration events. We're going to pull people together and start the dialogue. Then that's going to lead us to a corporate, where is our competition? We're going to have a commercial competition. We're going to choose targets, communities of interest, maybe is the best way to put it. Industrial areas of interest that we know are there. We know that cyber, we've heard of the Hampton Roads Community Foundation talk about these clusters of interest, communities of interest. We've heard them talk about the fact that we need to focus on UAVs and cyber, and I have 5 or 6 that are Oh, there we go. Oh, God, what a great slide. That's Karen. I knew. I said, can you make something to me that reminds me of everything? Yes. Port and maritime, offshore wind, cyber. Now, Scott and I have been having some interesting conversations because we think cyber may be the piece that pulls all of these things together, underlying all these opportunities. These are areas that many defense contractors haven't maybe thought about. They don't know, they don't have any connections in those fields. They don't really know how to go about it. But I assure you, since I'm an attorney and I have clients who are retired military, who are startups, and they are working in a lot of these fields, and they're going straight into commercial. They don't have any interest in doing defense contracting. So we're gonna have a competition, and tentatively it looks like these areas. I'm reaching out to people like Scott, and they're gonna help me shape problem sets. And we're gonna shape some problem sets instead of what normally happens in my experience is that people come up with a really cool solution and they say, hey, I've got this cool thing, now I need to find somebody who has a problem. And we're doing it the opposite way. We're going to reach out to the experts, the subject matter experts in these fields. I'm gonna work with Scott and his team, and we're gonna shape a problem set. And then we're going to set up groups to compete, to solve those problems. We're gonna have prize money, and we're gonna do it through the web platform, through the concursive connected platform, so that people can get together, and a group of 5 or 6 folks can come together and put a team together and figure out how they're gonna try to compete and solve the problem. We want to get defense contractors coming together with, holy cow, what's happening? It's moving. Can we go back to that slide, the design slide? Thanks. The next one too, that'll be good. So we're going to reach out to different groups. Sea level rise is a huge economic opportunity. It's a reality. I'm not interested in the politics of why or whether or not there's global warming. I don't care about that. But the statistics that they pulled in from Sewell's Point for the last 100 years clearly indicate that the water is coming up. So we need to help adapt to that. There are tremendous economic opportunities, and we have high-tech qualified defense contractors who can take their skill sets and apply those to the highly technical problems that we have to solve for sea level rise. So we're looking at the Blue Moon Foundation, the Center for Sea Level Rise Pilot Project, UAVs, Wallops Island Regional Alliance. Frank Wagner just got funding for the first UAV runway, the dedicated UAV runway. It's going to be online in 2016 up at Wallops. There's a tremendously vibrant community of companies getting into the UAV business. However, one of the interesting things about the UAV business is dealing with big data. So that brings us back to cyber. That we have problems that we can solve, that we have to solve in order to be a UAV center of excellence. So we're going to reach out to the UAV community and say, what is a problem that you've got? And this, I think, helps open up opportunities for people to figure out what possible commercial lines they might want to pursue. We're going to talk to Novavis with the Virginia Offshore Wind Coalition. In fact, that's where I'm headed when I finish here, is to meet with Novavis. They're bringing in, just an example, they're bringing in a team of people from Denmark to kind of form their own center of excellence, their own brain trust here, so that they say when, not if, there's an offshore wind farm after the 2 initial test turbines are built, that Virginia, Hampton Roads will position itself to be the logical place, the center of excellence. So we will already have relationships with the Danish companies who are the world's leading experts in offshore wind, and they will be here, they'll have connections with companies, they'll start a dialogue, and that's an opportunity for defense contractors then. They're born to work in offshore wind, logistics, supply chain, all of that. Nobody else is going to have the workforce here that's going to be able to manage offshore wind like Hampton Roads. And so by pulling these people together, we're going to collaborate with the groups that are already out there. I already mentioned Scott's group, Cyber Protection, and so these are just a few of the groups that have been incredibly receptive to what we're doing, and they want to kind of collaborate and partner with us. And I think my vision and Marty Kazabowski's vision a little bit is that we're going to be the collaborator for collaborators, and we want to create a place for everybody to come together and start this dialogue and not have everybody in little silos. And if Scott's group comes up with a great idea for some of the cyber aspects for offshore wind, then there's a whole dialogue that's going on with all the defense contractors and all the other companies that are part of the community of practice. So I want everybody to consider joining the community of practice. It's free, which is always good, but it puts you in a position to start this dialogue. Because defense contractors who are merging or morphing, diversifying into commercial worlds need support. They don't know, they've really never had to do PR, they've never had to do marketing, they don't know how to do that type of contracting, they don't know how to do that type of bookkeeping and accounting, they do DCA compliance stuff, they don't understand that there's such a different world in the commercial sector. So we want to bring lots and lots of people who are not defense contractors into this community of practice so that they're there and they can be providing, they can provide services as companies start to diversify. Oh yeah, we go back to this one. So the other things that we're gonna do, the main thing is the community of practice and this commercial competition. We're gonna do the commercial competition annually. Really don't have a specific name for it yet. But then as we have companies that come into the program, and we're gonna choose a kind of a select cohort of companies, we will assist them with things like an intellectual property audit. Lots and lots of defense contractors I know have IP, have patents, have things sitting on the shelves that they haven't even looked at in ages. And those may be things that can be adapted for commercial purposes. So we'll provide IP, intellectual property audit services. If a company's ready, maybe a company's much further along and is ready to kind of launch out, maybe branch out and do something different, we have obviously strong ties with the New Innovation Center in Norfolk that's ODU's partnered on, and we will provide corporate accelerator services for them. So we'll basically pay their rent, so to speak, for a period of time at the Innovation Center. And if they may want to spin it out, a lot of defense contractors, I predict, will want to have a separate company because a lot of the security issues and a lot of the requirements that they have to comply with for the feds are not the same things that they need to deal with commercially. So that will kind of hamper them, and they may need to have a separate company or have a subsidiary. We'll support that, and we'll support that effort. We're not going to offer kind of business marketing 101. We're not going to offer very generic programs. A lot of those great programs are already being provided at the Center for Enterprise Innovation through different programs like Launch, which Karen was formerly the director of Launch, and other groups. But we're going to provide very targeted services. So it's going to be much more, I would say, tailored to the needs of the companies that are participating. We'll basically sit down and use some sort of standardized evaluation methodologies to help those companies figure out what their real needs are. For example, Bart Sheenan is a friend at Morphix, and Bart is a brilliant guy, and he knows more about intellectual property law than I do. And he doesn't need me to sit down and do an IP audit for him. He already knows exactly what his products are. He knows that, yes.
Time to transition into questions.
Sure, questions, okay, hey, works for me. Anybody got questions? Oh, we have a kickoff event. We have a kickoff event, and this is what I want everybody to come to. Free beer and wine, you know, which you can't beat. And everybody loves coming to the TED Constant. It's gonna be a great event. We have an amazing panel of people speaking, all named Paul. So we just tried to keep it simple for the moderator, or it may be confusing for the moderator, who's John Paris. So John Paris is going to moderate for us. We have Paul Hirschspiel, Paul DiNardo, Paul Olson, and who's their other Paul? Paul Robinson from Aerotech. So they have all agreed to be on a panel and be there for questions and be there to talk to people. I've been told, and I didn't realize that it was fairly unusual to be able to get all four of those guys on the same panel on the stage with John Paris. But I didn't know that, so I just asked them, and they said they would do it. That's going to be kind of an exciting, it's going to be an exciting kickoff presentation, listening to their thoughts on this subject. So bring somebody, come, Karen can get your card if you want. Most of you in this room have been bombarded with electronic invitations from me, so I've been over-sending the Evite. But we want a good turnout, so we want everybody to be, we want to generate a lot of buzz and get a lot of momentum going. So questions, does anybody have questions?